Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. Today we're going to go to the coast for Christmas. If you're a person who loves the beach like me, you might want to paint a coastal Christmas. I go over this step by step. It's doable for any skill level. Just take your time in the process. I talk about the sky. It can be really easy by doing wet on wet. It's really kind of simple once you get the wet on wet down. Patreon members get the line drawing and the extended version. If you want to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box. This is doable for any person. Just think of a beach scene that you've done, and then you add in some elements of Christmas, a tree and a fence. And I go over some other ways you can add in some cute elements as well. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so let's go over a few things. I just sketched out a cute little Christmas tree here, some little pickets for that beach fence, and we'll put some garland on it, and then just some quick grasses. You want to make a line that goes down either almost, like 1/4 here, or I wouldn't really do half. Sometimes it's not very appealing. A rule of thirds is great. Either you want a small beach area and more of a sky. I'm using Fabriano's 100% cotton cold press 5x7 paper block. It's 100% cotton. This is great. And so yeah, you're just doing like a little grasses here and a little line across. Patreon members, like I said, get the line trace. If you want to click on my link in the description box to join Patreon, you can do that. So I'll be playing with a few brushes today. I'm going to start with my Aqua Elite Princeton number 12. Yes, a big brush, even on a small area like this. This technique for making my skies is super simple and foolproof. We're going to do wet on wet. When I do workshops, I do wet on wet and wet on dry, so see what people really feel more comfortable with. And wet on wet seems to be the number one easy one for you. So I'm just going to loosen up some paint here, ultramarine blue deep. Get that ready. You can make it more of a gray sky because it is winter. I'll add a little burnt sienna, and you get this nice gray bluish tone kind of happening here. Just keep that color kind of simple. I'll clean up my brush. Now I'm just going to wet this whole area, right? I'm just going to get it wet. Just water in my brush. You can go right over where the tree is, because we're going to paint that darker, obviously. Just go right over here in the line. If you have difficulty, maybe put some tape down, but I think it should be fine. And now when you get it wet, damp, you can see the sheen on the paper. Make sure you get it nice and wet. And you can see that sheen. And you're just going to grab your paint. And I like to do this in kind of like a diagonal, swoopy kind of way. I'll show you. I like to go like this. I'll tilt it up a little bit. You want to tilt so it kind of bleeds down also. See? And I leave a little space in between. See how I just did a little swipes? I'm going to add a little more burnt sienna, get a little grayer. The gray sky. And your skies get lighter as they go down for your perspective. And I'm going to clean up my brush, grab a little water, and have it move down. And then you're going to just call it, I'm going to lift a little bit off where the tree is, and grab my brush and bring the color down a little bit and call it a day. Right? Got some nice gray sky. I'm not going to fuss with clouds. I'm just going to fill in a little bit over here. And that's it. That's kind of how I do it. If you want a little bit darker, you can kind of play with it just while it's still wet and make it a little bit darker in some areas, just to get excited. As you go downward, the clouds get linear, more like a line like this, and they get fluffy as you go up. Get a little bit more dramatic cloud. It can be lighter, a little bit darker, depending on how you want to do it. And I'll just clean up my brush. I'm just going to lift a little bit of this color. Don't worry about this because the ocean's going to be darker. So there, that's pretty much it. It's a cloudy winter day. Now, obviously, we're not going to paint the tree now because once it's wet, it's just going to bleed up into the sky. But it's really just go that fast. Please don't go back and forth, go crazy on your skies because you'll end up making a mess and it will be overworked. And I say this all the time. It's really kind of simple, fast. You wet that area and you put that sky in, and that's just as fast as you want to go. So we can concentrate now on the beach area. We'll deal with this, the ocean, in a bit while that dries. You can take some burnt sienna and water this down. Add a little bit of the blue. right? We also got burnt umber. You want some nice different types of browns. Could add a little Paynes gray in this. Not much paint here because we have a small area. But you want different color, some browns, a little bit darker brown, so burnt umber and Paynes gray. Look at that, it makes like a nice deep brown. Water it down, and you get a lighter one, right? Same thing with this. This will be like the nice color for the beach. The burnt sienna with just a teeny bean bit of that ultramarine blue, right? And I'll even add some more water. And we start off really light. See, it's very, very faint. Look at that. And that's our sand. Now it's a gray day, so you're not gonna see much sun. So you can put this color throughout. You can leave some white if you want. And see how I'm kind of going on this angle again. Going up in here. I also have to add some greens and some nice dry grasses. I'm leaving a little bit white here. I'll get a little bit darker. I could just fill this all in too if you want to. Make your life simpler. Now I'm going to have some green in here, so where the fence is. Just going to put some around here. I want to get in all of it. There. And then up front. Go down here. Like I said, we're going to go into the ocean here. See, I'm kind of going on an angle just like I did before. I'm going to grab some of this darker color here. Start to bleed some of that in here. Just with the tip of my brush. Tippy tap. I can mix the two colors. Kind of going here. We're getting a little variety now. Getting in little deeper colors. You can just do a couple little lines going down here. Not a million, just a little. If it's too wet, you can tap it on your paper towel and just kind of go like this. Just using the tip. Get a little bit darker still. Maybe add some more burnt sienna. It's more of a reddish kind of color. Fill that in. See how we're getting the variety of colors? And we're going to add a little bit of greens to it too. You know, the winter, the beach grasses are all dried out browns. A touch of greens in there. Like I said, don't worry about the fence so much, except where you're going to put the greens on the fence. So I'm going to fill in some of the color here. Get this deeper brown kind of bleeding, especially back here. You see? Fill it in a little bit in here too. Little goes a long way. Grab that dark brown again. Dry brush. Tap it. Go like that. Super cute. Okay. We're going to start to play with some greens. I'm going to remove some of this. So I always mix my greens. Cadmium yellow deep. Prussian blue. And I always add like a burnt sienna or a burnt umber. I just tone that green down. If I keep adding the blue, it's a bluish green. If I put a little brown in it, it tones it down to like an evergreen color. I can still use this brush, by the way. And if I add more yellow and a little brown, we get more of an olive green, which I'm kind of going for. I don't want a really bright chartreusey green. And I'll tap it on this paper towel, remove some of it, and kind of put this, again, just want a light green kind of bleeding in here. The grass. Maybe grab some more burnt sienna, tap that, like right off the tube. Okay. Oops. Green, gonna go up in here. Zooming in here. This is the grass, but it's a little bit brown too, so we can grab that burnt umber, Paynes gray. You can just use it. If you have a good number 12 that's kind of newish, the tip is amazing. You just go like this, the grass. That. Get a little bit of the green. Kind of wiggling, and some of the browns. We're going to use a liner brush too. One of my favorites is a liner brush. So we're just going to let that sit for a minute. We're going to use the green now for our garland on the little fence, and then put the fence in afterwards. So we have this light green color, and I'm just going to wiggle that in here. You see? Leave a little space in between. I have a little red bow happening here. Just kind of tapping, little tap marks to give it some space in between with the white. And then you can grab the dark color. We didn't have to clean the brush. And tap in, tippy tap, where you're going to put the bow, like kind of next to it. And kind of help give it some depth and anchor it a little bit. Now at this point you can take your liner brush and kind of pull out some greens this way. Just like that. Gives it a nice look. All right, I'll test this. This is pretty dry. We can start to play with our greens in the tree. Same thing. Now, you can just go right there to the dark green, but I always like to add a little bit of light green. I'm going to put a line here to help me kind of figure out where the center is, and then from here, just wiggling in like a V shape with little lines and going into a triangle, obviously. And then here and there, you can just grab that darker green, mix into the light green. But you see, it's kind of like this V. And you can leave space in between if you want to put some nice, cute ornaments and even maybe some dusting of snow, right, with a gouache or something like that. I'm not keeping this tree super bright. I'm going to actually grab some more blue and brown and get some deeper, darker color in there. It's a little bluish. See, getting a little deeper, more depth, especially down here in the bottom. Just a simple evergreen tree sitting on the beach. Now, you probably don't normally see them there, but it's just kind of a cute little thing. And I'm going to tap some of that dark green on my garland as well. Again, you can use a different brush than this. If you're more comfortable using a smaller brush, use that. You could use the liner brush for little details of the pine needles, if that helps. Just go like that. And I love a good liner brush. I'm going to mix up my browns again for grasses on the beach. So I'm just going to grab some the burnt sienna, water it down, and swoop. Now that's a great detail. You kind of do it at the end. We're going to do the beach ocean first, but just showing you. So you get those nice little, lovely little grasses. Okay, we can work on the fence. I'm going to grab a different brush for that also, because again, smaller, or I could just grab the 12, but I'm going to just grab the 4. And gray, burnt sienna and ultramarine blue deep, make a perfect gray, and mix the two. And depending on how much blue you use, how much brown you use, it'll become more brown gray or blue gray. And I'm just going to put the little lines down for the fence. Now, if you want to put the bow, the red bow, first to not go on the lines, do that. But this is helping just anchor where I'm going to put them. I grabbed these 2 colors, pyrole Rubin and cadmium red light, because I like to mix them to make my red. You can just use one red. I'm just going to put in a cute little bow on the fence. And it doesn't have to take much effort. You can just go like this, put a little dot here, like that. You can draw like a bow you would draw, like if you were writing something, or make it a little bit fatter, right? See, little loops and the little swags going down. Just a simple bow. With the reds, we can kind of plop in some little red ornaments on the tree. Any colors you want on the tree. But, you know, make it mostly red and green. You can put little dots on the garland too. Get creative. You could put a bow. I'm going to put a bow up top. Isn't that sweet? Okay. For the ocean, we're going back with the ultramarine blue deep again. If you want to change it up, adding a cerulean blue, whatever. I'm adding a little bit of burnt sienna. And I just like to tilt my paint paper. It's just easier. Go across that line to where the lovely tree is, right? Now we can water it down just by putting some water on your brush and just touching that line. grab a little bit more paint, and we can kind of break it in between. You see, leaving a little white space. Water it down a little bit more. Tap it on your paper towel. Break it again by leaving a little space in between so it looks like white caps. And again, water it down, break it towards the shore line here. If you want to get a little bit darker, you can go back in, depending on how you want to do it. I'm going to get mine a little bit darker up here with the blue. Add a little put in dark lines. But it doesn't have to be super complicated, just something like that. And you can take some of the browns that you've mixed up, like even burnt sienna and some burnt umber, and just kind of go like this. You see, at the shoreline. I'm going to water this down. Get a little bit of that color here. Again, dry brush. The shore doesn't have to be perfect, but it looks cute like that. And then just for the vinyl detail, we're going to just go back to the fence. Remember those two colors, the gray, a little bit thicker, darker color. Give it a little bit of detail. Just getting a little bit darker. Blue, gray. Just so you could see it. It was looking a little light. So maybe have a little color kind of on the edge, going down the bottom. Remember, it's not a sunny day, so we're not going to put like shadows and stuff like that. But if it was a sunny day, you could put the shadows in. I'm just going to fill this fence in. And then we have this color in between. We're going to put some of that color of the grasses in there. So here's the fence. You could put another picket in there. Picket or two. Kind of sneak it in there. Kind of sneak some pickets in there. Make it a little bit wider if you want. Right? And then we've just grabbed some burnt sienna, burnt umber, some Paynes gray, and group the grasses. Even some of that gray color. Kind of grab even some green, you know, mix in some green, some brownish green. And going up, making grasses. And I want to fill in a little bit of color in between that with just some of that beigey brown. We didn't want to do it before because we wanted that garland in there, remember? So now we can fill it in. It'll stand out more. And get this area just a little bit darker. We're adding some browns and some grays, and you just play with this. So you can get this a little darker scenario back here. I'll even add a little blue. Just kind of play with that. And then you have your cute little coastal card. Like I said, play with it in a variety of ways. You know, the sky is the part that goes really fast. And here you're going to play with adding like the greens and the grass, the browns. You can add a Christmas tree. You can add a snowman. You can add a little bucket with, you know, Christmas balls in it. I'm giving you 1,000 ideas. So to change it up, you don't have to have a tree. Maybe you change the fence. It's up to you. I hope this was fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Got some ideas to do some coastal cards if you were not thinking about coastal cards, but you know, want to do coastal cards. And if you messed up on this, you can add some white watercolor or some gouache, right? You can take the gouache and you can make more of a wave, a curved wave. Just go like this, wiggle. So it looks like it's kind of splashing. All that good stuff. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, Patreon members get the extended version. So if you want to be a Patreon member, get the extended version in the line drawing. Click the link in the description box below. Thank you. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon.